In the next part I'll show how to make these deep raised panels just with basic tools on the router table. This is the effect I'm after. I've got thick applied mouldings that stand proud of the actual face of the door. But first I'm going to joint some boards to make the bottom panels out of, and then cut these really deep raised panel effects just using the router table with normal cutters and a jig. Jointing the boards for the bottom two panels, planed them all good and flat and sawn down the mating faces square and straight. I'm going to be jointing them with loose tongues, so I need a groove down that mating face. Grooves cut, then plane up some tongues to fit nicely. Then we've got groove, tongue, tongue, groove, just a little bit of clearance to make sure I can clamp it up, and it's all ready for gluing. I'm using polyurethane adhesive, so I've got myself all gloved up. Looks good and tight. It's just squidged a nice little line of glue out. With the boards glued up, I've smoothed the faces off, and then I've cut them down on the table saw so they're nice and square into the frame, with about 2mm clearance around it, just in case of any expansion in the future. I've marked the shape I want to cut out just on one edge, and to start with I'm just going to rough cut it on the table saw, so I've not got quite so much work to do on the router table. That leaves us with two panels, most of the material removed. Using a straight bit, the first part of the routering is to clean these faces up so they're accurate. You might have noticed that this is a bit smaller than the proper ones. That's because my tape messed up, so I'm just using this one as a demonstration piece. Now for the trick part, cutting the slope. I've made this jig that allows me to guide the wood at an angle to the cutter. The jig's screwed onto the fence, and then the panel slides against this rail, which also supports the end of the flat to keep it extra sturdy. Now I can adjust the height of the cutter and the fence to start taking the slope off. After we've roughed out most of the material, it's time to start getting accurate. We need the edge of the cutter to come just up to where the slope meets the flat. With the same cutter height, I'll take it up the slope, up to there, leaving that little bit of a step in. That's it, nearly done. The step's got a little bit of an angle on it, so I've just got to trim that back without the jig on the router table, and then just a little light sanding to get rid of any slight tram lines that's left on there. Now to make these custom mouldings.